Well, Neal, thank you so much for joining me. Let's talk about this film, The Last Rodeo, in which you play a retired bull rider who returns to the sport after a family emergency. Give us some details as to what audiences can expect.
Well, if you're a rodeo fan, you're going to go crazy for this film because we got to use the real PBR riders. They're playing themselves in the film, which is just kind of awesome and adds such an authenticity to the film itself. But it's really a family film. It's a film that talks about real life issues that happen in families. And for me, it was very personal when I wrote it. It's all about, I went through some really hard times in my life through years ago when I wouldn't do certain things in a movie and I got kind of crucified for it and I lost everything. And then I started turning into, there wasn't a bottle of whiskey that I didn't like. And I had a really hard time. And when I came out of it, I came out of it with such an appreciation because I realized that I was making life about myself and wallowing in my self-pity. And then my wife put it to me so perfectly. You got to man up and get through this. And it was turning back to God because God's always there for us. We're not always there for him. And what happened thereafter? I mean, if you asked me 10 years ago, I'd be starring and producing and writing my own films. I thought, you're crazy. I don't have a penny right now. And to be back here where I am, talking to you, Beau, about this film, The Last Rodeo, that I wrote and produced and starred with my wife, Reve, I'm so proud of this film. But it's a film that I know the heartland of America is going to love to see. It's something that has been lost in many years in Hollywood. They've lost the talking to the heartland, talking about American core values. We've done some pretty dark things out in Hollywood, and I'm guilty in being part of a lot of it. And now I have the ability to make films with Angel Studios that talk about real issues. The whole family can go and see. You don't have to cover your kids' ears or eyes in any part of any of the films that we're making, and they really give glory to God. So for me, I'm so blessed to be in this position. To sit here on your show and talk to you about The Last Rodeo is just something that's really incredible in this journey that we've had.
Well, Neal, it's interesting because, many people know you primarily as a villain, such as in Yellowstone and The Shift. But in this film, you get to be the father, the grandfather, and perhaps more importantly, the hero. And not only that, you have your first on-screen kiss with a woman. So did you relish being the good guy for once?
Yeah, well, we've the last few years through Greater and then the Warrant films and a few of these other films, I'm finally getting to play the characters that I always wanted to play. I always wanted to play the John Wayne guy. I always wanted to play the Paul Newman types of characters, but I couldn't because I won't kiss another woman. The only woman I'll kiss in life is my wife. So who did we cast to play my wife in this film? But none other than my wife, Reve. And maybe the greatest moment of my life was that day that I finally got to be the hero. I knew at that moment I'm the hero in a major motion picture. And I get to I finally get to kiss the woman in the end. And that woman was my wife, Reve. So I got to do it on my terms finally. And it took a long time to get here. Trust me, that's 30 plus years of being in this industry of figuring out how to get where I wanted to go. And now I'm there. And it's just an incredible feeling. And I'm so blessed and thank God every day for the opportunity to be where I am, who I am, and what I've achieved alongside my wife.
Well, what interested you in this bull riding plot, Neal? You've done a fair amount of work in Westerns, but this is a plot that requires some serious physical ability. So what got you interested in, and what type of training was required for it?
Well, the idea came to me when I was doing The Warrant Part 2, and I was away from Reve and the kids, and I thought, I really miss Reve, but what would ever happen if something happened to Reve? And I pulled over to the side of the road and it just kind of buckled me. And I saw some horses out there, and I'm fairly certain God put this idea in my head. Write a movie about what you just said, Rocky on a Bull, about an aged rodeo star who has to go back, who lost his wife because of certain things. And I won't go into the story too much, but that's how it all came about. And for the training for the film, I trained my butt off. I went on this certain diet for several months. I started with this new company that really got me into shape called Flip My Life that now I'm the spokesman for. I believed in it so much I said, I need to be the spokesman because this is a product that actually works. And I've tried so many different products, but when you see me in the film, I'm shredded, the 58-year-old guy who's shredded in the movie, no drugs, none of this stuff. It was just hard work and Flip My Life. So it was great. And then to train on the mechanical bulls with, Buddy Joe Hooker, who's a trainer on the film, who was the stunt coordinator. He pushed me, and they all pushed me to be in the best shape that I could possibly be in, and I loved it. I'm a knucklehead when it comes to training, and being an athlete as I was when I was younger in hockey and baseball, this was just I love this stuff. That I love doing my own stunts. I love getting whooped, and they certainly whooped me a lot in The Last Rodeo.
Well, I was fortunate enough to see an advanced copy of this film that audiences will get to see. And, family is a central theme of The Last Rodeo. And I personally, Neal, had an estranged relationship with my father that I was able to reconcile. And your character is also able to heal old wounds with his daughter. So many people battle, with broken families through no fault of their own. But do you think that stories like this can provide maybe a template for how to overcome these fractures?
Yeah, people say, "Are you making faith-based films?" And Reve and I both say, "No, we're not making faith-based films. We're making films that give glory to God for sure, but we want Christians, Jews, agnostics, Muslims, anybody to come to the film and say, 'Oh, if that guy can get through that situation, why can't I?'" And hopefully, as corny as that sounds, when you see a really great movie, it changes you. When you see great television, it changes you. And Hollywood has gotten away from the positivity side. They've been just a lot of negative stuff going. We decided to make a switch on that. And with Angel Studios as our distributor, they have absolute faith in what we're doing with the McDonough Company and making films that actually talk to families, talk about real issues and how you can possibly get through them by watching these characters. And it's awesome. It's something I'm just immensely proud of, and I can't wait to see where this goes with The Last Rodeo and where the McDonough Company goes thereafter with Angel Studios.
Well, you mentioned Hollywood, Neal. You've said that when you saw some of the breakdowns for this year of what the major studios wanted, that 4 or 5 of them out of about 10 said they wanted more faith content. And that's an absolute rarity. I know it shocked you. We've even seen this in the streaming world currently with House of David on Prime. What has caused this change in what the studios are wanting to produce?
I think the heartland of America, by going out supporting films like Homestead, we shot for $5 million, just past $25 million in the box office. That's crazy. And why is that? Because families want to go to the theater together, not just mom and dad. The kids go to a different movie. Kids don't want to go to certain movies because it's too advanced or too goofy or whatever the case is. These are movies that everyone can go and watch and learn from. So we keep writing and creating films that the heartland of America will go to as a group and watch a film together. And then after the film, you go have an ice cream with your whole family and say, "Okay, what'd you think of this? What did you think of that? How can we get through these problems? Oh, boy, I could do a little bit better at that than what I'm doing right now, or I could drink a little bit less, or I could fight a little bit less, or make it less about myself." And when you see characters who actually struggle, characters who really struggle and get through it in the end with faith, that's what we're writing and that's what we're creating. And I think the heartland of America just wants to see more of that. And we're going to keep giving it to them because they're asking for it. And I think that Hollywood is finally listening to the heartland of America saying, "You know what? I think they're right. We need to start making more positivity."
Does this mean, Neal, that faith-forward content is now no longer just a niche genre relegated to conservative people, but actually a storytelling mechanism that is both inspirational and profitable?
Profitable for sure. I mean, these films are doing so very well. Look at the Kendrick brothers have done. Look what the Irwin brothers have done. Dallas Jenkins' Last Christmas movie that cost under $10 million to make, and that made $30 million in the box office. Those are big numbers. They may not seem huge, but you look at, well, a Marvel film makes $200 million in the box office. Yeah, well, they paid $300 to make it. So we're making smaller films. The independent world has really done well by these types of films. But now the studios are thinking, wait a second, I think we need to start making some films like this if we want to turn profits. For me, it's not so much about turning profits. It's about making great stories for people to be entertained by. And if you can have a faith backdrop, if you can talk about God and you talk about those issues, let's not forget, our country was built on faith. Our country, our Declaration of Independence has God mentioned in it 4 times. I was watching the president's speech the other night, and right behind him it says, "In God we trust." And I think we need to trust more in him and worry less about ourselves. And family first, me second, God first, me second. These are the tenets that built America, and we're building upon that in our films.
Yeah, faith, family, and freedom. Those are the 3 F's that always seem to be eternal. You mentioned earlier, but you've also started this production company with your wife called the McDonough Company. This is surely really exciting for you, and I'm just curious what kind of content and stories you hope to tell with this new venture.
Good ones. We want to make movies that families can go to and enjoy. As a kid, my very favorite movie as a kid was The Cowboys with John Wayne. And I just loved that film. And it was a film that the whole family could see. And I've seen that film so many times. And there's some dark issues in it, but not crazy dark. There's some, there's everything you'd want in a movie. And those kind of movies are always kind of stuck in my brain. Now, Reve and I have the opportunity to actually make those films, and we're going to keep making films like that that entertain the masses with a family feel and with a nice backdrop of God. And I think that not enough filmmakers are thinking that way, and that's what we're thinking, and that's what we're going to keep on doing.
Well, Neal, parenting is such a crucial issue right now, not just in this country, but in the world. I believe you have 5 beautiful children. I have one who just turned 1. My son did. What kind of a legacy, thank you, do you, I think about this, and I'm sure you have as a father too, but especially since you're in the entertainment industry, what kind of legacy do you want to leave to those children? Because I've had to think about that myself when you're in such a unique industry.
Oof, I don't really think that far in the future. I don't really think about me and my legacy. I'm thinking about today. What did I do today to make my kids' life better? What did I do today to make my wife's life better? And tomorrow isn't promised. Yesterday is already gone. What are you going to do today to make the world a better place for God? And that's what kind of drives me every single day. So all I can do is, you can tell your kids certain things, but it goes in one ear and out the other. But if you show kids who you are in public, what you do, what you stand for, me giving up alcohol 10 years ago wasn't easy, but I did it because I knew it was the right thing for my family. And my kids see that. My kids understand that, and they see other people who haven't given it up, who maybe should. There are some people out there who can have one glass of wine a week and they're fine by it. Some people aren't. I wasn't like that. It's the Irish in me, I think. So it's you got to figure out what works best for you and your family and God. And like I said, family first, me second. God first, me second. If you live by those tenets, Beau, I promise you, you make less dumb choices. And we're all idiots at times. We're all sinners. We all make stupid mistakes because we're human. But it's how you get up and dust yourself off after that that makes you a child of God. And that's what I'm trying to do in everything that I do.
And leading by example, of course, which it sounds like you've done a great job of doing. Neal, finally,
Right.
what else is on the horizon for you coming up in the coming months and maybe even years?
Well, we got some great films coming out. Very proud of. Obviously, I'm back on Tulsa King, which we start in a couple of weeks, which I can't wait to get back and work with Sylvester. Stallone is like, it doesn't make sense how awesome he is, how bright he is, how energetic he is at 78 years old, and how fit he is. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then right after that, we start our big Western, The Wicked and the Righteous, which is Cain and Abel in the West, that John Avnet, who directed The Last Rodeo, is going to direct as well. So that's going to be a really big, fantastic film that I know is going to just speak volumes to families and getting through more situations. So I'm blessed to be here. I'm so fortunate to have the body of work that we built, but I feel like I'm just scratching at it.
Absolutely. Well, Neal, thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and we certainly look forward to The Last Rodeo and your other body of work. So God bless you, Neal.
God bless you both. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
Our pleasure.